this screencast involves how to figure out the significant figures in calculations. A calculated answer cannot be more precise than the measuring tool, and it must match the least precise measurement, because that is really where our precision ends, and the others are just estimated digits. And we don't want to mislead people in science. Significant figures are needed for final answers, and we only really have two different types of calculations: adding and subtracting, or multiplying and dividing. The rules for each of those operations are slightly different, or at least from adding and subtracting to multiplying and dividing, and how we figure out where to round our answers to so that the measurement is not misleading, implying more precision than the least precise measuring tool. Adding and subtracting. The answer has the same number of decimal places as the measurement with the fewest decimal places. So adding and subtracting, it's all about the decimal places. So one of my measurements here is 25.2. Somebody else measured something and they had a more precise measuring tool, and so they were able to measure it out to 1.34. When I add this together in my calculator, I have this answer, but this implies a level of precision that I did not get from one of my measuring tools. So I cannot report my answer as this. I'm going to have to round my answer. Because we're adding these two numbers, I need to go with the fewest decimal places. So this one has 1 decimal place, so my answer must be rounded to 1 decimal place. So I go to 1 decimal place and I see, that it is a 5. And so I consult the next number to see if that 5 needs to round up. If it is under 5, we don't round up. If the next number is 5 or above, we would round this up to a 6. In this case, we are not going to round, so the reported answer should be 26.5 with 1 decimal place there. Make sure you round appropriately. If we look at some practice here, we're just adding some numbers in A, and here we have 2 decimal places, and that's really what we're going to focus on because that's the rule for adding and subtracting. Then we have 1 decimal place in this measurement and 1 decimal place in this measurement. That means the lowest number of decimal places is 1, so I'm going to need to round my answer so that it has 1 decimal place. The calculator would spit out this number right here. You would go to 1 decimal place, but then you're going to have to round. That 5 is going to make that 7 round up to an 8, so number 2 right here is the correct answer. Here we are subtracting, and again we're going to look at decimal places because that's what matters when we're rounding with adding or subtracting. Here I have 3 decimal places. Here I only have 2, so my answer should have 2 decimal places. When you plug it into the calculator, you get this answer, but it has 3 decimal places. So we're going to go to 2 decimal places, consult this next number. It is a 5, so it's going to make that 2 round up, and the answer again is number 2 right here with 2 decimal places for that answer. If one of these numbers didn't have any decimal places, that would be the least number of decimal places, and you would want to round your number so that it has no decimal places. The rule for multiplying and dividing is pretty much the same, except we don't deal with decimal places. We deal with Sig Figs. So you're going to round or add zeros to the calculated answer until you have the same number of Sig Figs as the measurement with the fewest Sig Figs. If we look at this one, this number has 3 Sig Figs. This number has 2 Sig Figs. So after we put this into our calculator, we're going to need to round our answer so that it only has 2 Sig Figs, and that makes our answer this. Division uses the same rule. This number has 4 Sig Figs. This number only has 1 Sig Fig. So I need to round my answer so that it only has 1 Sig Fig, and that makes it this number right here. This trailing 0 is not significant because there is not a decimal place. this number, we've got multiplication and division going on. I have 3 sig figs, 2 sig figs, 3 sig figs, and 2 sig figs here in all of these numbers. So I need to round my answer to 2 sig figs. That leaves the answer choices to this or this. So you would just plug that into your calculator and the answer comes out to be 11 right here.